What are your recommendations for us editors doing TVCs?
I've worked with a few editors to. Tapos, they're mostly in-house sa post houses. For example, sa UGL and Optima. These are the kinds of post houses I've managed to work with. Tapos, one of the editors there, um, he he's very aggressive with making reels. So he's managed to connect with directors that like to work with him, and so they built that rapport, that relationship for a while. Then eventually, once you develop your portfolio, it's easier for you to send to other directors and tell them, direct, ito po yung reel ko. Maybe you want to work with me. So that's how I see it for you to develop in your career. But also beyond that, it's the skills talaga eh. Obviously, if you know more about, let's say, compositing or VFX or CGI, that adds to your value, and people will definitely look for you if you can offer them that. Yeah.
Tips for creatives to be part or crew of TVCs?
Sorry again.
For creatives of the crew or TV commercials.
Um, what exactly is?
Creatives.
Crew with the whole process, kasi whenever you encounter clients or agencies that sort of don't understand the process, they tend to be a bit more demanding, a bit more rude. So in that case, your responsibility, especially as a director, is to educate them that these are how things are done. We're doing our best, so I think it's best that you also do your best and understand what we do best, so that everyone is informed, and that way that kind of atmosphere just makes it more fun to work. It doesn't become, even if it's hard, it becomes easy to work in that type of setting.
Tips on winning a pitch.
Winning a pitch. Whenever I do a pitch, I have to convince myself that's the best pitch in the world. It's the best story, it's the best concept. And with pitches kasi, you're convincing people to give you a lot of money. So you find ways for yourself to basically you guide them through. We have a term in advertising, no? It's called kailangan mo silang ihatid or itawid. So, kumbaga, you have to hold their hand as you guide them through your vision, so that they understand, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. I'm confident that my money is managed well with him, and therefore I can trust him.
So basically, you have to build trust.
You have to build trust, yes, but also be convincing. You have to convince yourself that what you're offering them is the best that they can possibly see.
So sometimes yung story ng writer is different sa perspective or kung anong gusto makita ng director. So kapag ganun, sino ang nasusunod? Yung gusto ng director or stick sa story ng writer?
Depends on the director, no? Pero kumbaga, how much the director is willing to give way to the writer. But at the end of the day, film, I'm guessing this is about film. Film is a visual medium, eh? And directors are, at the end of the day, visual people, but they also have understanding of story. So what ends up on screen is the director's call, and the director gets the final say.
So are there any instances na i-mix yung ideas ng writer and then ng director?
Bad naman, like like I said, the best atmosphere is to have a collaborative sort of atmosphere. But I guess in that case, it's about how much you are willing to compromise. Kasi when you compromise, you're giving something up, eh. But if the director understands what he really wants, he can convince the writer na, okay, this is much better to do. If he trusts his work that much.
So from Carl Simon de la Cruz, who is competition? Yeah.
Kasi you sort of you can't help but compare yourself to your peers, but when you're doing the best work you can do, the only thing that can sort of get you down is yourself. If your mindset is to like to be discouraged by other people's success, so you just focus on yourself, do what you have to do, and hopefully, and make sure that that the best you're giving is what is necessary. Yeah.
So from Rika Sanglay, what piece of advice can you give to make your film stand out?
Find your voice. I think it's important to find your own style, your own personality, and be able to translate that on screen. Those are the I've learned kasi that the more specific a story is, the more unique it is, and at the same time, the more relatable. Kasi when you're talking about, let's say, a specific instance in your life, people understand that you're being sincere, and you can see that sincerity is very apparent. And if you're sincere, I think that's where originality comes out. That's how you can connect to people, when you're being as honest as possible as you can, because it's easier said than done, no. Pero honesty is one of the hardest things as a filmmaker, as an independent filmmaker, because you sort of put yourself in a vulnerable position. Because when you show your final product, you're showing it to a lot of people, and then showing it to a lot of people means you're open to judgment, and some people get scared of that. And I think the biggest challenge is to be fearless. And sure, people will judge you, but also there's something to learn from what they say.
From Mark Alang, how do you always come up with different concepts and styles?
Concepts, anything, like I said, there are so many ways somebody can get inspired. So if there's, for example, for a music video, if I really respond well to the song, that means I can already see the music video in my head without shooting it. So yeah.
So what if I'm not really a fan of cliche stories. So how do you come up with originality?
Just be honest, no? Parang cliches are stereotypes because they happen for a reason, because I guess it happens to a lot of people. And cliches work, eh. I mean, cliches were not cliche when they were first used. So I guess when you find a different way of communicating something, or translating a feeling or an idea, it should be how you think it should be. See, cliche is also reliant on perceptions of other people. So if you are simply honest with yourself, I think that's how you can avoid cliche.
So another one from Alang, what product is the hardest one to advertise?
Water, liquid. Liquid is very hard because the nature of liquid, kasi if you light it, it's messy, it bounces everywhere. You can't control it like people. You can control it, but then you can't always get exactly what you want. That's the hard stuff. It's technically very difficult because there's different kinds of lights, cameras, and in post-production it's a different process. It's not different, but it's more meticulous.
Jay Abanto, how do you handle creative ideas? Paano mo masasabing pangit or maganda ang isang idea?
Well, out of it is taste eh. So, however, kumbaga, kung paano informed yung taste mo, yun yung standard mo for judging what's good or bad eh. I mean, it's subjective, right? Pero there is value in trusting your own taste. And that's why people get you for jobs because they trust that you have good judgment, good taste, and if they think, if people respond to it, ibig sabihin, it's a good idea.
So, you find your work, what do you call this? Hindi pasok sa'yo. And sa others, okay siya.
My work?
I don't know. Well, I guess
I mean, your ideas.
my own ideas.
Okay,
Oh, there's an extent na you are your worst critic for sure. But kumbaga, it's your motor lang for doing better. And if you think for yourself you're not satisfied with something you've done, and then some other people like it, then di okay yun. But also, at least you know for yourself that you could have done better or done something differently.
So, from AJ, what's the hardest thing being a director? And when can you say you are fulfilled with your work or task?
The hardest thing.
About being a director. The hardest thing is the sleepless nights. Kasi there, many times you don't get much sleep. You don't have your own life. But these come and go. But it's for the love of the job. So if you love your work, then it doesn't feel so much like arduous labor, even if it is. Yeah.
You mentioned sleepless nights. Is there any time of your life na you felt like giving up?
I felt like giving up for the night, parang to sleep it off. But if you give up, parang it's just gonna show your character, and it will reflect in the work you do. And you don't want your work to be considered bad because everyone will see it. So you just find a way to pick it up together again and start over. You
Finish what you start.
So what's your motivation para mag-keep on going ka? Kasi I guess it's safe to say that as students, minsan tinatamad kami. So how do you find your motivation? What's your strategy?
There's no
feeling compared like seeing your work done like this. I mean, if it's polished, kasi you have an idea of how it looks like in your head, and then when you finally see it when it's made, I don't think there's equal joy. Kasi you put so many hours into it, you put a lot of work into it, and to see it finally be born, it's like, I guess it's like giving birth or like having a child, which I don't know about, but I'd imagine it would be the same.
So from RJ Abanto, deal with your storyboards, especially in production stage. Do you strictly follow it or sometimes may sudden changes na sa tingin mo ay mas maganda? Or stick lang talaga sa plan most probably because ito ang napag-usapan sa program?
Well, in film, when I was doing my passion projects, I don't storyboard. Parang, in those cases, I work very closely with a cinematographer so that we just talk about it to make it happen. And if I like what I see, then all is well. Pero for ad work, you always need to have a storyboard because, like I said earlier, you need to show the client and agency what you're doing. And since some of them are not very imaginative people, you really have to rely on images, physical images. Ideally, I would not always follow the storyboard because I want to be creative as well. But the job is to, kumbaga, these are the agreements. The storyboard is the agreement between you and the agency.
So from our audience, do you still have questions?
You can. You have the option to operate your own camera. um, in ad work kasi,
Lines are clear na parang, okay, this is your job. I won't interfere with that. But as a director, I can operate my own camera. For some work, I still do a lot of cinematography work on the side just to exercise some creativity. Like I recently did a short film where I was not the director but the cinematographer. It was an underwater shoot, and then we had a few lights lang. Yeah, so. But that's not me as a director. That's me as a cinematographer. But as a director, I sometimes like to operate the camera on some of my shoots, so that mas personal. You don't have to explain. You just want to see. You see what you want, and that's when you take control. But not all the time.
So, Martinez, as a director, do you consider making a film or commercial about the rights of the PWD in the country? PWD.
Well, again, what's the question?
As a director, do you consider making a film or commercial about the rights of the PWD in the country?
Well, if there's an opportunity to tell that story, why not? Kasi it's important to represent also stories of people who are not very much represented. So, if there's an opportunity, for sure, I would love to work with that subject, that topic.
So, from AJ Rocketeer, what's your dream project?
Dream project. Wow, that's a lot. I still have dreams of directing a Hollywood movie, like a really big scale action movie, because I love those types of movies. But yeah, hopefully one day.
So, what's your favorite?
favorite action.
Honestly, I like the Bourne trilogy. That's one of my, because I think that was one of the best edited action movies in the past years. Because for a lot of action movies, just like cutting, very cutty with no reason. Pero for movies like that, every cut has a purpose, and you don't feel confused, even if there's a lot of things going on.
So from Vince Soriano, our last question, bilang isa or paano mo masasabi na maganda ang isang film?
Kapag na-affect ako,
Kapag nakita ko na sincere yung ginawa ng team, ng director, at hindi siya nagpre-pretend, kasi some filmmakers pretentious yung dating nila. Pero kapag yun lang, parang sinabi ko kanina, kung sincere lang sila, may enjoy ko na yung movie. Even if it's not like the technically most brilliant piece of work. But if it's sincere, if it's really trying to tell a true story, or a sincere, an honest story, then it succeeded, at least for me.
So ito pa last. From Alman Mendoza, when are you totally convinced that your chosen treatment is going to work? Is it serendipitous at times?
Yeah, sometimes you don't know. Kasi if you see it, it looks good. But then once you get to the editing room, that's when the magic happens. Kasi it's sort of like, parang nagluluto. So, iba-ibang sangkap. But then once you mix it all together, that's when you finally realize na, oh wow, it works. Sarap.
That is all for today's Avant-Garde Live class. For more information, you can visit our website at www.avantgardelive.com. This is McCartney, and thank you for watching.